Vincent Van Gogh, people told him, you can't be a great painter, you only have one ear. You know what he said? I can't hear you.
Listening to Sippin' Sports, a Phillies sports talk morning show with Chris, KJ, and Dalt. Proudly powered by 302 Birds. Let's take it to the show.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. KJ and Dalton live from our studio in Delaware. But we're hanging out today, bringing you guys the latest live for the first time, actually, in a long time, which feels good. But unfortunately, nothing good to talk about with the team that you're rocking right now.
Yeah, nothing too much,
but yeah, I mean, we're still going to talk about it. We got the Sixers sucking, which is on tap. Yeah. We got Andrew Painter looking sharp. We got the Flyers, who are 3-1 in their last four, which is amazing. They're finally turning it up. We're talking about KJ's favorite, Chip Kelly, Chipper, being back in Philadelphia. Eagles, Jaguars preview, and then we're reimagining the NFL. But go ahead into our first topic here. KJ, I mean, Andrew Painter is looking sharp in fall ball. How exciting is that to you as a Phillies fan?
That's great to hear. I mean, obviously he's been a guy that we've been looking, a prospect that we've been obviously hyping up a lot. I mean, I know Ballpark has been loving him as well. So I mean, it just right now, I think this guy, I mean, he's had some injury bugs, obviously, and like we thought he was going to be out there sooner. And it seems like this is the year that we'll actually get to see him actually pitch for the Phils. So it's great to hear because he's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of great skills. And I mean, he can be one of the next big things for Philly. I really feel like he could be what he was compared to as like a Cole Hamels kind of player. I mean, just having that kind of impact on this team. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But Andrew Painter, man, I mean, it's some exciting news for sure.
Yeah, Andrew Painter and the Phillies organization needs to figure out a way to get these young guys going because the old guys and really even the daycare didn't find a way to get it going throughout the postseason at all. As far as the Phillies go, I mean, I hardly even want to talk about them because I'm just still so frustrated with them. I said to Alyssa, I don't think if the Phillies lose this series, I don't think I'll ever be able to watch the Phillies the same way again. And I still feel that same way. It's been heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak. And hopefully somebody can change that. I'm glad to hear that Andrew Painter is looking good, but I just feel like with these things, I'll believe it when I see it. Like if he goes out there and he starts playing like Paul Skeens did this year, okay. Then I'm like, all right, this is good. This is going to work. You know what I mean? Like this is a good young rookie, but he's got to be able to do that. I'm not going to get my hopes up as a Phillies fan until anything. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. Props to Andrew Painter. I'm not trying to take away or discredit anything that he's doing. I'm just saying as a Philly fan, as a Phillies fan, we know better than to get our emotions involved. And if you guys are in here on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, whatever it may be, like it up, comment, share, all those little things really help a ton. But talking about standing up for something, KJ, I'll let you go ahead and take this first. Sixers are 1-3, man, and they got a big game tonight against the Grizzlies, I guess.
Yeah, Memphis.
Yeah.
Memphis. Yeah, so yesterday, Joel Embiid came out to the media. He called out Philly reporter Marcus Spears. And I think, no, not Marcus. Marcus, I don't know what his name is. It's not Marcus Spears. I'm thinking Marcus Spears, the guy from ESPN. I forget the guy's name, but his name's Marcus. And he called him out pretty much. And also it seemed like he was kind of calling out the Philly fans in general, because a lot of Philly fans like myself are kind of worried right now because, I mean, the whole thing with Embiid, I mean, he's not playing. And they're also just, what is it?
It's Dennis. He says, screw Embiid. Forget the hashtag forget the process.
Honestly, yeah, screw the process. Forget it. The process, screw the process. The process was a failure. And yeah, I mean, that means Joel Embiid as well. And I know that people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, Joel Embiid, he did so much for the city." That's what he said yesterday in the interview as well. He said, "I did so much for the city." And he's like, "I sacrificed."
He did.
Yeah, he did.
You could
Yeah,
say that.
yeah. I would say that, but here's the problem, though. I mean, like when it came push to shove, though. I mean, when we really needed you, when the team really needed you, especially in the second round of the NBA playoffs, you just went cold. And the rest of the team didn't show up either. So I mean, it's not really your fault, but I mean, kind of is. So I mean, I was a huge Embiid supporter, but I've honestly, for the last 2 years, I've just started to really lose a lot of faith in the dude, and it just sucks because he's got so much talent. I mean, he's an MVP caliber player. He is a proven MVP, but the problem is with him, I mean, obviously injuries and everything like that. And the problem is, and I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit on Wednesday's show. I feel like with the Sixers organization, I mean, it's really just, I mean, all the fans that really just like their hard-earned money and they go out to these games and they buy gear. I mean, they invest in their money and because they want to see some good basketball and see our city represented in the right way. And right now, it's not represented in the right way at all. And with Embiid lashing out at the media, it kind of seemed like he was lashing out at the Philly fans a little bit. But I mean, honestly, I think any city would be doing this right now because you're not saying what the heck's going on. You're not like the whole team itself. I feel bad for Nick Nurse in general because Nick Nurse is getting asked these questions, and he's really. I think he didn't know what he signed up for, and it really is like it's like a sad story. It's a sap story because that's how it is. I mean, it's just like you hear all these rumors and everything like that. Oh, is Embiid injured? What's going on? And they're asking him, and Nick Nurse, he knows, but he can't really say what's really going on because the team officially themselves as an organization hasn't really announced that. And they don't really want that public, which kind of sucks because you should be able to tell your fans what the heck's going on when there is something wrong. And obviously there is something wrong. So it sucks. And I mean, we got to look at the positives from it, but I mean, there really isn't any positives. I mean, the only positive is that Maxey, that's the only positive I see right now. Tyrese Maxey balling out, and that's pretty much it. But we'll see what happens with Embiid. It's a really just total drama of a story. It really sucks.
Yeah, it's like it's a merry-go-round, like you just said. And I kind of feel bad for somebody like Nick Nurse too. I'm with you on that now that you point that out. I don't know that he deserves to be kind of thrown through it. He's obviously got to do whatever the organization tells him for his job, but I think he knows in his heart what they're doing to the fans, what they're doing to the media, what they're doing to everybody is not necessarily fair. Um, and it's tough too because when the Sixers are good, the Sixers sell tickets. I'll leave it at that. Um, People will go to Sixers games. People will support the Sixers. People will watch the Sixers. You got somebody like Fratty right here in the chat. I love the comment. It had me cracking up. He said, "I'm actually gonna watch the game tonight." Yeah, I get it, Fratty. There's better things to do than to watch the Sixers. So it's tough too because I know Dennis, same thing. He's a 2K guy. He would probably watch the Sixers if they were good. But everybody's just so disappointed in this team. If you want to talk about the Phillies letting us down year after year after year, talk about the Sixers because it's been longer with them that it's been year after year after year after year after year. So we'll see how they bounce back tonight against the Grizzlies. But moving on to a little bit more of an upbeat topic and now the more upbeat part of the show, just wanted to a little bit touch on the Phillies and the Sixers there. But man, the Flyers are fighting back 3-1 in their last four. I mean, how exciting is that to see?
Well, I mean, it's still early in the season, and I mean, this is a very young team. I mean, last year we saw them finish better than we thought they would. And even though, I mean, they did have that big dry spell at the end, and really when we needed to get into the playoffs, I mean, they lost like 11 in a row. But fast forward to this year, I mean, it's early. And a lot of people have said, I mean, especially with the addition of Mishkov and the other young guy as well, and some other young pieces, I think they know that this is kind of like a rebuild kind of process. So emphasis on the process. But yeah, I mean, I think they know that as organization. I think the fans know that as well. So I think it's great. But I mean, when push comes to shove, though, this team does have a lot of they're really just like, I mean, they're very young. So I mean, they got a lot of just guys who are really developing. So I mean, I think that's the main thing with the Flyers. So we'll see what happens with them. But I mean, that's great. That's great. But I think it's not going to be like this for that long. It's gonna. I mean, the glass is going to be very dry soon. We know it.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Just like any other Phillies sport, I hope I'm wrong on that. Just for context, I hope I'm wrong on that, and I know he does as well. Like Mac just alluded to, we both do, but we're just used to it now. And look, the Flyers are a good team. They're a young team, but I'm not getting any super expectation or excitement or any kind of hype, especially with everything that's happened with all the other Philly sports teams lately. Do the Flyers, I think, have the talent and the potential to make a run, do something interesting, do something that could shock people in the playoffs? Yeah. Could they go all the way? I don't know. I really don't. I will say, if there's any sport that you can kind of make up for talent on another team just because it's a any given Sunday mentality, it's hockey. Hockey's any sport where anything can happen on that ice. So stay tuned for more on that. But 3-1 in the last 4, you got to give the Fly guys credit on that. They're fighting back. They're doing what they do, led by Torts. So hey, just keep it up. Take it game by game. But all right, KJ McCoy, I know that you've been waiting to get to this part in the show, so I'll let you take it first. But Chip Kelly's back in town.
Chip Kelly, what's up with it, cuz? Ha 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 ha. Get the out of Pennsylvania. Get the out of Pennsylvania. I don't like to curse too much. You know, I don't really like to curse too much. I try and keep it a little minimal. But for Chip Kelly, honestly, dude, it's great that they are actually they're actually commemorating LaShawn McCoy as an Eagles Hall of Famer. And he would be an Eagles all-timer if it wasn't for your ass, Chip. If it wasn't for your ass. Same with Deshaun Jackson as well. And finally, years after years, this punk comes back to Pennsylvania. Well, kind of in a different kind of aspect, because obviously college sports, not a head coach, because no one trusts your ass, to be honest. I don't. No one does. But, I mean, Ohio State's Ohio State, and he's the offensive coordinator. So I hope I'll be watching the Penn State game as a Penn State fan. Them hopefully taking down Ohio State today at 12. It's going to be tough because Ohio State, even though they did lose one game, they are only one standing number behind us. They're 4 and Penn State's 3. So we'll see what happens. But I saw a picture this morning that really, honestly, this cracked me up because it's so true. And I think a lot of people who are Eagles fans, I know this, you got to realize this. Here it is. Wait, yeah, try and show it. So it says, you can't see it. Take a screenshot of it. Wanted, Chip Kelly for crimes against Philadelphia. They did that at College Game Day today. Somebody had a sign of that. So pretty cool. I mean, yeah, even I'm going to tell you this. For all the people that hate on Penn State sometimes, and I get it, but today you can't, because Chip Kelly, if you're an Eagles fan, you're rooting for Penn State. You want this man to win? Heck no. We want him to be a loser like he really is. Chipper, whatever the freak you want to call him. I hate that guy. I always will. As Deshaun Jackson said and LaShawn McCoy said, he's a fucking punk. Fuck him.
There's KJ. Look, I'll say this. KJ speaks for all Eagles fans in the facet of Chip Kelly really ruined a prime era for Eagles fans with Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy and Macklin too. I mean, all of those guys that were there that were kind of our childhood, that Miracle in the Meadowlands team, kind of McNabb's guys, you know what I mean? Like they were there. That was his supporting cast. And boy, were they good. Boy, were they good. Chip Kelly kind of did what he wanted with that team. He didn't really put into account what anyone else wanted except for himself. And looking back on it, he was essentially trying to build the Philadelphia Oregon Ducks. And whatever he had to do to put the Philadelphia Oregon Ducks together, he was going to do it. You look back at that Marcus Mariota trade where he wanted to give up all that capital.
Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, Fletcher Cox. That would have been so stupid given that trade up to Tennessee. Tennessee should have accepted that in a heartbeat looking back on it. And the Eagles would have just been finessed. And thank God that Jeffrey Lurie finally stepped up and said, okay, enough's enough. We can't let any more happen. I think Lurie knows in his heart, unfortunately, it was too late too. But at the same time, I mean, I don't think anybody really knew that Chip Kelly was just going to be that stupid, that ignorant, that idiotic with his decision making. And boy, was he. So, with that being said, I hope that he's just as ignorant, just as idiotic, just as stupid today in his play calling. I hope he chokes on it. I hope his team loses. And I'm not a Penn State fan. I mean, I don't really have a college football team. I don't watch college football like that. But today I will be the biggest Penn State fan in the world. I will be there. That's why you guys see the white Saquon jersey to KJ's left, because it's like almost like the white Penn State jersey, the frat jersey, as we like to joke and call it. But in all seriousness, I do want to see Chip Kelly get his ass kicked today. And I think everybody in Philadelphia would like to, because deep in his heart, deep in his mind, that's probably what he's thinking about. Last time I was in Philadelphia, I fucked the shit out of it. I had a bad scenario. And he's just somebody that, I don't know. Chip pisses me off.
Such a punchable face. Such a punchable face, to be honest. Like, dude, if I saw this guy, I mean, of all the people in the world, I'm a pretty nice guy. But the one guy, if you said, okay, you got to punch him, I would sock him right in the freaking face. I hate that guy with a passion. Can't stand him. I probably hate him more than I hate, like, I mean, I wouldn't say the Cowboys, but I mean, like, I hate the Cowboys more than anything. But yeah, I mean, I can't take that, man. Just seeing his smug little face. He's an evil little man. That's what he is. And he's a clown. So I think I can speak here for all Philadelphia Eagles fans. We hate you, Chip, and we'll never forgive you. And yeah, you know what? I hope your offensive game plan just sucks and you guys lose today. So go Penn State. We are Penn State. Suck it, Chip.
Love it. Well, now let's talk about the guy that succeeded Chip Kelly. And, well, succeeded, or I forget the term. Succeeded. Point being, the guy that took Chip Kelly's job, and Doug Peterson. Doug, unfortunately, is not in the best scenario coaching-wise. Doug is on thin ice, for lack of a better term. We all know it as Eagles fans. I'm hoping, praying that if the Eagles come out tomorrow and do what they're supposed to do, which I think that this should be an ass whooping. Let's just check out some stats real quick, some things that I was looking up. When you look at passer rating, the Jacksonville Jaguars are second most allowed with 111.8 on average passer rating that they're letting up. Then when you look at passing yards, they're also the second worst with 2,272 yards given up already. And then last but not least, they're tied for first in most passing touchdowns allowed. So there's one guy that I expect to have a humongous day tomorrow and probably get Doug Peterson fired. And that's going to be somebody that he used to be cool with. He's still cool with, what am I saying? But somebody that he used to coach, a talent that he brought up and helped train in Jalen Hurts. With all of those bad passing stats, I hope that the Eagles have in the game plan to air it out tomorrow. Look, I want to see Saquon Barkley run the ball. Don't get me wrong, but we just saw that. We saw what he can do. 2 games back to back. I mean, he's done it all year. This game with the second worst, basically the worst overall, in my opinion, passer defense in the NFL and the Jacksonville Jaguars, take advantage of it. This is another game that I would also like to see A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith have over 100 yards each. With Dallas Goedert being on the injury report, there's no reason that they shouldn't. And this would be a game, dare I say, last but not least, that I would like to see Jalen Hurts go for the forbidden over 300 yards. If Jalen Hurts could go over 300 yards, I would be thrilled because it's been a long time since we've seen that. I don't know the last time that Jalen has went over 300. I think it was last season, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that, but he needs to have a game where it's not just the Jalen Hurts game because of touchdowns, because of a big catch by A.J. Brown or a big catch by Smitty both. It needs to be a game where, wow, he just had a lot of passing yards and a lot of completions, and he went to work. He's got to go to work.
Yeah, I think this is this is a big game for Doug Peterson, I feel like, for the Jaguars. And I mean, I know that he's not our coach anymore, but it's gonna be like really cool to see Doug come back here. I think he did come back here in 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Then the rainy game, yeah, or 2021. So that was cool to see. But now we get to see him. What might be the last time we ever get to see him coach against us. So I mean, I don't hope. I mean, like, even I want the Eagles to obviously, I mean, just like go off on the Jaguars, which they should. I mean, as Dalt just told you guys, I mean, they have a horrible pass defense. I mean, they just can't cover the pass at all. And I mean, you got to exploit that. I feel like you totally got to go for that. And I think that gives us an advantage. And hopefully this team can really just come out with a fire in their chest. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think the Eagles will obliterate them. I do. But I don't want Doug Peterson's job gone. I mean, especially getting fired after, I mean, literally after the game that you lose to your former team where you won a Super Bowl. And it's kind of crazy to think this too. The Jaguars have done this twice where they've tried to bring one a player, Nick Foles, who won a Super Bowl with us, did the Philly, obviously the statue of both him and Doug. Then that didn't work out with Nick Foles. He got injured right away and really didn't play for the Jaguars. And then Doug Peterson, they hired Doug Peterson and they hope that, maybe he'll bring us a Super Bowl. Maybe he'll get us there and be contenders because he did that with the Eagles. And I mean, he won a Super Bowl with them. So why can't he do it with the Jaguars? Well, they're the Jaguars. That's the problem. And it just seems like they're an organization that really needs to find their identity. I mean, they got some young players, and that's the main thing. I think with Doug, I mean, I hope he doesn't get fired, but it could be a possibility because what we heard from our good friend in London, Captain Duval. Cat Duval.
Cat.
Oh, Cap. Yeah. Geez. Cap Duval. I was saying that the first time. I said Captain Duval.
No, I just like to say Cat for sure. But anyway.
All right. Yeah. Captain Duval. So we talked to him and he was like, yeah, I mean, the guy's on thin ice. So the guy is on thin ice, even though they don't really have ice in Jacksonville. I mean, it's Florida. But I think that's the crazy thing. I agree. I love Doug Peterson, but it's like one MMA movie.
Do you think that the problem is Doug Peterson? Do you think that the problem is Trevor Lawrence? Or do you think that the problem is the Jaguars organization?
I think it's the Jaguars organization. I think Trevor Lawrence is – I know he's really hyped up to be a really good quarterback. I really don't see the hype with the dude. I don't really understand the hype. I think, you know what, he was a really good college player. But I really do feel like he kind of reminds me of like a Tim Tebow kind of – I mean, a better version of Tim Tebow. But I just feel like a guy who really can't transcend to the NFL game, it seems like, for the most part. I mean, compared to other quarterbacks, is he a pretty good quarterback? Yeah, but he just doesn't have the best weapons as well. So, I mean, I think that's a problem with T-Law, and it's unfortunate. But, yeah, I mean, someone was saying this recently. Like, if you go to Jacksonville, I mean, it's really a place to really just, like, go there and just kind of like just play football. But I mean, like, is it going to be good quality football? I don't know about that. So that's why I think we'll see what happens. I think the Eagles do get this game. I think they win it, and I think they're going to win it by great fashion. I think they win it 31-10. I think 31-10. Eagles win.
I like it. I like the confidence. I will say I think that the Eagles win 42-28. I do think that the Jaguars offense will put up some points. The Eagles themselves don't have the best defense, especially running wise. If the Jaguars know how to exploit that and know how to kind of get on the Eagles run defense, it's been better. The Eagles defense has been phenomenal the past 3 weeks, but I think that it could be kind of a trap game for the Eagles with that being said too. So I really hope that their defense stays focused. Offense though, with the Jaguars defense just being so bad, I want first quarter points. I want some first quarter points today, tomorrow, whatever it is. Whenever you're watching this, point being, I want the Eagles to be able to come out swinging. They're at home. They're going up against a seriously inferior team, a coach that they know well, that Nick Sirianni knows well. That's his friend. We saw that Doug Peterson gave him advice when he first came to Philadelphia. That whole report came out this week. So do I expect this to be a grudge match? No, I don't expect there to be any bad blood. Do I expect this to be a game where there's a lot at stake? Hell yeah. There's a lot at stake for the Eagles. They don't want to fall flat on their face. They could advance to a 6-2 team. And then I don't know, does Washington have a bye this week, or do they play the Giants tomorrow? Is that why Friday's saying? So yeah, if the Giants can somehow upset a team that's still younger, still developing, the Eagles could potentially go back to first in the division. It's a very important game for the Eagles in that facet. It's a very important game for the Jaguars, and Doug Peterson doesn't want to lose his job. The Jaguars don't want to put a hat in on the season yet. They basically already have. So for both sides, that's why this is a high stakes game. And I expect both teams to play like it. I do. But with that being said, I want first quarter points from the Eagles, and I know they can do it.
Yeah, I'll say this as well about the first quarter points. I mean, obviously the Eagles are looking dominant, but yeah, we want to see them score for first quarter points. And I think if we could see them score first quarter points, this is the game to do it, because obviously, as we alluded to, they're not a good passing defense. So you know what, though, really use that as motivation to score in the first quarter. I think they can do that. At least, of anything at worst, maybe score a field goal. We haven't even done that, which is crazy. So it's just like, I mean, it's disappointing, but I mean, this team still is a winning team. They're still getting it done right now, and I mean, we're 5-2 now, so it's I do believe in this. I do believe in them getting a first quarter point tomorrow. I think it will happen. So I don't think they're going to go on a whole streak of not doing it. I think they're going to get it done tomorrow. If they don't get it done tomorrow like that, that sucks. But you know what, though? Just win the game. Just win the game. I mean, we'll figure that out when we can figure that out. So it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, you can't score in the first quarter. I mean, that's insane, especially against a Jaguars team like this. You gotta exploit them. You got to. So I think so. I think it'll happen.
Stay tuned. And we will be here to cover the Jaguars Eagles post game. Jack and I on the Eagles post game show. So if you guys aren't doing anything, come hang out there. If you guys want to call in, you can call into the show. KJ might call in. KJ will be at the game. So if any of you are at the game, keep an eye out for this guy.
Come to K-Lot. I think like in the K30s. I'll keep you guys updated. So check my TikTok story on KJ McCoy, and I'll let you guys know where I'm at. But I think in like the K30s, I'll be tailgating, and you guys get to meet Papa McCoy and my brother. So I mean, that's an exclusive thing. So yeah, that'll be cool, and meet a couple of my friends. So it'll be dope.
So if any of you guys are watching, want to do that, stay tuned for both those things. But last but not least, we wanted to talk about the next thing. This is actually something that somebody else did, and it goes back to SpongeBob. Imagination. Yeah, literally. But you look at this, and it's actually a fun way to think about the NFL here. I'm going to move these real quick so that you guys can get a full picture. But this is reimagining the NFL. You look at some of these teams, and you got the Pacific Division on the left with the Seahawks, 49ers, Rams, and Chargers. You got the Big Sky which would be kind of that Colorado, Arizona area, and then a little bit into Oklahoma, Nebraska, and all that fun stuff. But you got the Raiders, Arizona Cardinals, Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs. Then you got the South Division, which I think would be a lot of fun to watch with the Cowboys, Texans. That rivalry would be insane. Then you got the New Orleans Saints. I'm thinking of LSU down there in Baton Rouge, but the Saints and then the Tennessee Titans. You got the Atlantic Division, which would cover all of Florida, and then the Falcons, which would be chaotic. But you got the Dolphins, the Bucks, the Jags, and then the Falcons. The Mid-Atlantic Division would be gritty, but I think a lot of fun as well, with the Panthers kind of making their way up to play with the Commanders, Ravens, and Bengals. Then you kind of move over to these two Great Lakes divisions that they added with the Vikings in the Great Lakes West with the Vikings, Packers, Bears, and Colts. And then the Great Lakes East with the Lions, Browns, Steelers, and Bills. And then you move on to last but not least, where our own, the Philadelphia Eagles would play in the Northeast division, which would be the Eagles, Giants, Jets, and last but not least, those horrid New England Patriots.
41-33.
Yeah, 41-33. Remind him, Mac. Remind him.
Oh, yeah.
But how would you feel about? I mean, I think that this is interesting. How would you feel about this whole
This
thing?
is very interesting, and I feel like a lot of leagues. I wish they really went with this kind of format. I mean, I wish a lot of even NBA teams. I wish the MLB was more like this as well. The NHL was more like this, but a lot of these leagues try and really mix it up and try and make it random with places like this. I mean, obviously having the what is it? What is the division that the Patriots are usually in? It's the North
AFC North.
AFC North. The Dolphins are in
Or the
that.
AFC East, I think technically.
Yeah, but pretty much all the teams up there are North.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are in
Which
that,
doesn't make
which
sense.
makes no sense. So they just got to go all the way down. So it doesn't make too much sense. If you think about it, and I know Cowboys fans can be like, "Oh, you guys are scared of us. You're scared of us. That's why you don't want us in our division." No, it's not. It just doesn't make any freaking sense because think about this: Eagles, Giants, Commanders, pretty close in vicinity, not too far. I mean, you just take the 76, take the highway. You got to take the plane every time. You got to take a plane, or if you want to take the road trip, I mean, God bless you, to Dallas, Texas. I mean, or some people be like, "Oh, just go to Dallas, Pennsylvania." Not the same thing. Give some of you Philly Cowboys fans the excuse of, "Oh, I could be a Cowboys fan now," but no. But yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Obviously, we said before. Yeah, I like it. I mean, I feel like the Eagles would be dominating that division, though, in general, with what we're looking at it now. I mean, if you said right now, okay, this is the divisions, we just switched it right now to this day. I mean, the Eagles would be probably repeating, and you would see a back-to-back champion, especially in the Northeast division. And I think that's pretty interesting. But I mean, that's why the NFL has it, so then the Eagles won't repeat, I guess. So, but it's interesting. I like it. And do I think they'll ever go to this? No, it never will. But it's just imagination. That's what
Imagination.
yeah. So it's a funny alternative universe, though. I mean, it's funny to think about it like that, and yeah, it's interesting.
I'll say this. If they could switch up any of these, I would actually take, if I could pick anyone to switch. Sorry, I'm just moving the camera. I would take the Northeast and switch it up a little bit, and I would make it the Eagles, the Giants, and then the Ravens, actually, I think would be fun in that division. Then if you want to talk about who do you want to put there, you could put the Jets too. But believe it or not, I think it would be more cool, in my opinion, or cooler, rather, to say, okay, let's do what the NFL does right now, where one of them's in the NFC and one of them's in the AFC. They're going to have an NFC and they're going to have an AFC of some sort. I don't know what it's going to be called, but they're going to have two different conferences. So one in each conference. If you do that, then you could probably pull into the Commanders to that, which I think would be a lot of fun. Then what do you do up top? You would probably clump in the Patriots, the Jets, the Bills, and the Steelers into a division, which I don't know what you want to call that. Maybe the I don't know what the state line of Pennsylvania and New York is called. Some of you guys might know, but whatever that is called, tough. That would be kind of cool. because those teams are definitely gritty. That's a tough, cold division with a lot of good football. I think that's partly why the NFL does it, is so that some of these teams can get away from the cold, with the Miami Dolphins being able to play with the Eagles and the Giants being able to go to the Cowboys. And so some of those teams also get some of the other elements. I'm sure that that goes into consideration, but moreover, I wish that they would do these conferences or divisions by where you're located.
It'd be interesting. It really would. And I mean, it's pretty cool. Maybe we do that in like a Madden, where
Yeah.
I don't
know if there's a way to do it.
I know in college football, the new college football sport, the college football game, obviously, you can actually switch divisions. You can actually put Notre Dame actually in a division. You can put all the independent schools in a division if you wanted to. You can switch them around the way they should be. And I don't know if you can do that. Let me know if you guys can. Any Madden players out there, can you actually switch divisions and make it like this? Because I want to actually do this now. I mean, this would be interesting. So, I mean, that would be a cool stream for Dalton to do as well on YouTube. I mean, for him to do that, if we can actually make that possible. I mean, would you do that, Dalton?
If we could figure it out, maybe. But the thing is, I would probably want to sim it. If we could sim it, oh yeah, sure. If we could sim it, yeah, I'd do anything. Yeah, if we can sim it, yeah. We may not stream it. You may have to join our Discord server to see what happens. But yes, we could definitely do that. Yeah. And let us know in the comments what you guys would think of this division reimagine. It's definitely something fun to talk about, like KJ said. But do we think that they'll ever do it? Hell no. Otherwise, though, that's all we got for you guys. Want to thank you guys for joining us on this Saturday morning. Mac, you got anything you want to say before we head out?
Hey, Chip, what's up with it, cuz? Get the freak out of Pennsylvania. Go Penn State. We are Penn State. Let's go. Beat them. Ohio State sucks, Matt Bear. They suck.